Jeremiah, chapter 26. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, this word came from Yahweh. Yahweh says, "Stand in the court of Yahweh's house, and speak to all the cities of Judah, which come to worship in Yahweh's house, all the words that I command you to speak to them. Don't omit a word. It may be they will listen, and every man turn from his evil way, that I may relent from the evil which I intend to do to them, because of the evil of their doings. You shall tell them, Yahweh says, if you will not listen to me, to walk in my law, which I have set before you, to listen to the words of my servants, the prophets, whom I send to you, even rising up early and sending them, but you have not listened, then I will make this house like Shiloh, and will make this city a curse to all the nations of the earth." The priests and the prophets and all the people heard Jeremiah speaking these words in Yahweh's house. When Jeremiah had finished speaking all that Yahweh had commanded him to speak to all the people, the priests and the prophets and all the people seized him, saying, "You shall surely die. Why have you prophesied in Yahweh's name, saying, this house will be like Shiloh, and this city will be desolate, without inhabitant?" All the people were crowded around Jeremiah in Yahweh's house. When the princes of Judah heard these things, they came up from the king's house to Yahweh's house, and they sat in the entry of the new gate of Yahweh's house. Then the priests and the prophets spoke to the princes and to all the people, saying, "This man is worthy of death, for he has prophesied against this city, as you have heard with your ears." Then Jeremiah spoke to all the princes and to all the people, saying, "Yahweh sent me to prophesy against this house and against this city, all the words that you have heard. Now therefore, amend your ways and your doings, and obey Yahweh your God's voice. Then Yahweh will relent from the evil that he has pronounced against you. But as for me, behold, I am in your hand. Do with me what is good and right in your eyes. Only know for certain that, if you put me to death, you will bring innocent blood on yourselves, on this city, and on its inhabitants. For in truth, Yahweh has sent me to you to speak all these words in your ears." Then the princes and all the people said to the priests and to the prophets, "This man is not worthy of death, for he has spoken to us in the name of Yahweh our God." Then certain of the elders of the land rose up and spoke to all the assembly of the people, saying, "Micah the Morashtite prophesied in the days of Hezekiah, king of Judah, and he spoke to all the people of Judah, saying, Yahweh of armies says, Zion will be plowed as a field, and Jerusalem will become heaps, and the mountain of the house as the high places of a forest. Did Hezekiah, king of Judah, and all Judah put him to death? Didn't he fear Yahweh and entreat the favor of Yahweh, and Yahweh relented of the disaster which he had pronounced against them? We would commit great evil against our own souls that way." There was also a man who prophesied in Yahweh's name, Uriah the son of Shemaiah of Kiriath-Jearim, and he prophesied against this city and against this land according to all the words of Jeremiah. When Jehoiakim the king, with all his mighty men and all the princes, heard his words, the king sought to put him to death. But when Uriah heard it, he was afraid and fled and went into Egypt. Then Jehoiakim the king sent men into Egypt, Elnathan the son of Achbor, and certain men with him, into Egypt. And they fetched Uriah out of Egypt, and brought him to Jehoiakim the king, who killed him with the sword, and cast his dead body into the graves of the common people. But the hand of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, was with Jeremiah, so that they didn't give him into the hand of the people to put him to death. Chapter 27. In the beginning of the reign of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Judah, this word came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Yahweh says to me, make bonds and bars, and put them on your neck. Then send them to the king of Edom, to the king of Moab, to the king of the children of Ammon, to the king of Tyre, and to the king of Sidon, by the hand of the messengers who come to Jerusalem, to Zedekiah, king of Judah. Give them a command to their masters, saying, Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, You shall tell your masters, I have made the earth, the men, and the animals that are on the surface of the earth, by my great power and by my outstretched arm. I give it to whom it seems right to me. Now I have given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant. I have also given the animals of the field to him, to serve him. All the nations will serve him, his son and his son's son, until the time of his own land comes. Then many nations and great kings will make him their bondservant. It will happen that I will punish the nation and the kingdom, which will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, says Yahweh, with the sword, with famine, and with pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. But as for you, don't listen to your prophets, to your diviners, to your dreams, to your soothsayers, or to your sorcerers, who speak to you, saying, You shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie to you, to remove you far from your land, so that I would drive you out, and you would perish. But the nation that brings their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serves him, that nation I will let remain in their own land, says Yahweh, and they will till it and dwell in it. I spoke to Zedekiah, king of Judah, according to all these words, saying, Bring your necks under the yoke of the king of Babylon, and serve him and his people, and live. Why will you die, you and your people, by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence, as Yahweh has spoken concerning the nation that will not serve the king of Babylon? Don't listen to the words of the prophets who speak to you, saying, You shall not serve the king of Babylon, for they prophesy a lie to you. For I have not sent them, says Yahweh, but they prophesy falsely in my name, that I may drive you out, and that you may perish, you and the prophets who prophesy to you. Also I spoke to the priests and to all this people, saying, Yahweh says, Don't listen to the words of your prophets who prophesy to you, saying, Behold, the vessels of Yahweh's house will now shortly be brought again from Babylon, for they prophesy a lie to you. Don't listen to them. Serve the king of Babylon and live. Why should this city become a desolation? But if they are prophets, and if Yahweh's word is with them, let them now make intercession to Yahweh of armies, that the vessels which are left in Yahweh's house, in the house of the king of Judah and at Jerusalem, don't go to Babylon. For Yahweh of armies says concerning the pillars, concerning the sea, concerning the bases, and concerning the rest of the vessels that are left in this city, which Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, didn't take when he carried away captive Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all the nobles of Judah and Jerusalem. Yes, Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, concerning the vessels that are left in Yahweh's house, and in the house of the king of Judah and at Jerusalem, They will be carried to Babylon, and there they will be, until the day that I visit them, says Yahweh. Then I will bring them up and restore them to this place. Chapter 28. That same year, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, in the 4th year, in the 5th month, Hananiah, the son of Azur, the prophet, who was of Gibeon, spoke to me in Yahweh's house, in the presence of the priests and of all the people, saying, Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, I have broken the yoke of the king of Babylon. Within 2 full years I will bring again into this place all the vessels of Yahweh's house that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, took away from this place and carried to Babylon. I will bring again to this place Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, with all the captives of Judah who went to Babylon, says Yahweh, for I will break the yoke of the king of Babylon. Then the prophet Jeremiah said to the prophet Hananiah, in the presence of the priests and in the presence of all the people who stood in Yahweh's house, even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen. May Yahweh do so. May Yahweh perform your words which you have prophesied, to bring again the vessels of Yahweh's house, and all those who are captives from Babylon to this place. Nevertheless, listen now to this word that I speak in your ears, and in the ears of all the people. The prophets who have been before me, and before you of old, prophesied against many countries, and against great kingdoms, of war, of evil, and of pestilence. The prophet who prophesies of peace, when the word of the prophet happens, then the prophet will be known that Yahweh has truly sent him. Then Hananiah the prophet took the bar from off the prophet Jeremiah's neck and broke it. Hananiah spoke in the presence of all the people, saying, Yahweh says, Even so I will break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from off the neck of all the nations, within 2 full years. Then the prophet Jeremiah went his way. Then Yahweh's word came to Jeremiah, after Hananiah the prophet had broken the bar from off the neck of the prophet Jeremiah, saying,
Go and tell Hananiah, saying, Yahweh says, You have broken the bars of wood, but you have made in their place bars of iron. For Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, I have put a yoke of iron on the neck of all these nations, that they may serve Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and they will serve him. I have also given him the animals of the field.
Then the prophet Jeremiah said to Hananiah the prophet, Listen, Hananiah, Yahweh has not sent you, but you make this people trust in a lie. Therefore, Yahweh says, Behold, I will send you away from off the surface of the earth. This year you will die, because you have spoken rebellion against Yahweh. So Hananiah the prophet died the same year in the 7th month. Chapter 29. Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the residue of the elders of the captivity, and to the priests, to the prophets, and to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. After Jeconiah the king, the queen mother, the eunuchs, the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, the craftsmen and the smiths had departed from Jerusalem. By the hand of Elisha, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. It said, Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says to all the captives whom I have caused to be carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon, Build houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens and eat their fruit. Take wives and father sons and daughters. Take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters. Multiply there, and don't be diminished. Seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray to Yahweh for it, for in its peace you will have peace. For Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, don't let your prophets who are among you and your diviners deceive you. Don't listen to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed, for they prophesy falsely to you in my name. I have not sent them, says Yahweh. For Yahweh says, after 70 years are accomplished for Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you, in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yahweh, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you hope and a future. You shall call on me, and you shall go and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart. I will be found by you, says Yahweh, and I will turn again your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations, and from all the places where I have driven you, says Yahweh. I will bring you again to the place from where I caused you to be carried away captive. Because you have said, Yahweh has raised us up prophets in Babylon. Yahweh says concerning the king who sits on David's throne, and concerning all the people who dwell in this city, your brothers who haven't gone with you into captivity. Yahweh of armies says, behold, I will send on them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like rotten figs that can't be eaten. They are so bad. I will pursue after them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be tossed back and forth among all the kingdoms of the earth, to be an object of horror, an astonishment, a hissing, and a reproach among all the nations where I have driven them, because they have not listened to my words, says Yahweh, with which I sent to them my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending them. But you would not hear, says Yahweh. Hear, therefore, Yahweh's word, all you captives, whom I have sent away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says concerning Ahab, the son of Koleah, and concerning Zedekiah, the son of Maaseiah, who prophesy a lie to you in my name. Behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he will kill them before your eyes. A curse will be taken up about them by all the captives of Judah who are in Babylon, saying, Yahweh make you like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have done foolish things in Israel, and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken words in my name falsely, which I didn't command them. I am he who knows, and am witness, says Yahweh. Concerning Shemaiah the Nehelamite, you shall speak, saying, Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, because you have sent letters in your own name to all the people who are at Jerusalem, and to Zephaniah the son of Maaseiah the priest, and to all the priests, saying, Yahweh has made you priest in the place of Jehoiada the priest, that there may be officers in Yahweh's house. For every man who is crazy and makes himself a prophet, that you should put him in the stocks and in shackles. Now therefore, Why have you not rebuked Jeremiah of Anathoth, who makes himself a prophet to you? Because he has sent to us in Babylon, saying, The captivity is long. Build houses and dwell in them. Plant gardens and eat their fruit. Zephaniah the priest read this letter in the hearing of Jeremiah the prophet. Then Yahweh's word came to Jeremiah, saying, Send to all of the captives, saying, Yahweh says concerning Shemaiah the Nehelamite, Because Shemaiah has prophesied to you, and I didn't send him, and he has caused you to trust in a lie. Therefore, Yahweh says, Behold, I will punish Shemaiah the Nehelamite and his offspring. He will not have a man to dwell among this people. He won't see the good that I will do to my people, says Yahweh, because he has spoken rebellion against Yahweh. Chapter 30. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, saying, Yahweh, the God of Israel, says, Write all the words that I have spoken to you in a book. For behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will reverse the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, says Yahweh. I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they will possess it. These are the words that Yahweh spoke concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For Yahweh says, We have heard a voice of trembling, a voice of fear and not of peace. Ask now, and see whether a man travails with child. Why do I see every man with his hands on his waist, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned pale? Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he will be saved out of it. It will come to pass in that day, says Yahweh of armies, that I will break his yoke from off your neck, and will burst your bonds. Strangers will no more make them their bondservants, but they will serve Yahweh their God, and David their king, whom I will raise up to them. Therefore, don't be afraid, O Jacob my servant, says Yahweh. Don't be dismayed, Israel, for behold, I will save you from afar, and save your offspring from the land of their captivity. Jacob will return, and will be quiet and at ease. No one will make him afraid, for I am with you, says Yahweh, to save you. For I will make a full end of all the nations where I have scattered you, but I will not make a full end of you. But I will correct you in measure, and will in no way leave you unpunished. For Yahweh says, Your hurt is incurable, your wound is grievous. There is no one to plead your cause, that you may be bound up. You have no healing medicines. All your lovers have forgotten you. They don't seek you, for I have wounded you with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the greatness of your iniquity, because your sins were increased. Why do you cry over your injury? Your pain is incurable, for the greatness of your iniquity, because your sins have increased. I have done these things to you. Therefore, all those who devour you will be devoured. All your adversaries, every one of them, will go into captivity. Those who plunder you will be plundered. I will make all who prey on you become prey, for I will restore health to you, and I will heal you of your wounds, says Yahweh. Because they have called you an outcast, saying, It is Zion whom no man seeks after. Yahweh says, Behold, I will reverse the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have compassion on his dwelling places. The city will be built on its own hill, and the palace will be inhabited in its own place. Thanksgiving will proceed out of them, with the voice of those who make merry. I will multiply them, and they will not be few. I will also glorify them, and they will not be small. Their children also will be as before, and their congregation will be established before me. I will punish all who oppress them. Their prince will be one of them, and their ruler will proceed from among them. I will cause him to draw near, and he will approach me. For who is he who has had boldness to approach me, says Yahweh? You shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, Yahweh's storm, his wrath, has gone out, a sweeping storm. It will burst on the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of Yahweh will not return until he has accomplished and until he has performed the intentions of his heart. In the latter days, you will understand it. Chapter 31. At that time, says Yahweh, I will be the God of all the families of Israel, and they will be my people. Yahweh says, the people who survived the sword found favor in the wilderness, even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest. Yahweh appeared of old to me, saying, Yes, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have drawn you with loving kindness. I will build you again, and you will be built, O Virgin of Israel. You will again be adorned with your tambourines, and will go out in the dances of those who make merry. Again you will plant vineyards on the mountains of Samaria. The planters will plant, and will enjoy its fruit. For there will be a day that the watchmen on the hills of Ephraim cry, Arise, let's go up to Zion, to Yahweh our God. For Yahweh says, Sing with gladness for Jacob, and shout for the chief of the nations. Publish, praise, and say, Yahweh, save your people, the remnant of Israel. Behold, I will bring them from the north country, and gather them from the uttermost parts of the earth, along with the blind and the lame, the woman with child, and her who travails with child, together. They will return as a great company. They will come with weeping. I will lead them with petitions. I will cause them to walk by rivers of waters, in a straight way in which they won't stumble. For I am a father to Israel. Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear Yahweh's word, you nations, and declare it in the distant islands. Say, He who scattered Israel will gather him, and keep him, as a shepherd does his flock. For Yahweh has ransomed Jacob, and redeemed him from the hand of him who was stronger than he. They will come and sing in the height of Zion, and will flow to the goodness of Yahweh, to the grain, to the new wine, to the oil, and to the young of the flock and of the herd. Their soul will be as a watered garden, and they will not sorrow any more at all. Then the virgin will rejoice in the dance, the young men and the old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy, and will comfort them, and make them rejoice from their sorrow. I will satiate the soul of the priests with fatness, and my people will be satisfied with my goodness, says Yahweh. Yahweh says, A voice is heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children. She refuses to be comforted for her children, because they are no more. Yahweh says, Refrain your voice from weeping, and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, says Yahweh. They will come again from the land of the enemy. There is hope for your latter end, says Yahweh. Your children will come again to their own territory. I have surely heard Ephraim grieving thus. You have chastised me, and I was chastised, as an untrained calf. Turn me, and I will be turned, for you are Yahweh, my God. Surely after that I was turned. I repented. After that I was instructed. I struck my thigh. I was ashamed, yes, even confounded, because I bore the reproach of my youth. Is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a darling child? For as often as I speak against him, I still earnestly remember him. Therefore, my heart yearns for him. I will surely have mercy on him, says Yahweh. Set up road signs. Make guideposts. Set your heart toward the highway, even the way by which you went. Turn again, Virgin of Israel. Turn again to these your cities. How long will you go here and there, you backsliding daughter? For Yahweh has created a new thing in the earth. A woman will encompass a man. Yahweh of armies, the God of Israel, says, Yet again they will use this speech in the land of Judah and in its cities, when I reverse their captivity. Yahweh, bless you, habitation of righteousness, mountain of holiness. Judah and all its cities will dwell therein together, the farmers and those who go about with flocks. For I have satiated the weary soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. On this I awakened and saw, and my sleep was sweet to me. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of animal. It will happen that, like as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to overthrow and to destroy and to afflict, so I will watch over them to build and to plant, says Yahweh. In those days they will say no more, the fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But everyone will die for his own iniquity. Every man who eats the sour grapes, his teeth will be set on edge. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which covenant of mine they broke, although I was a husband to them, says Yahweh. But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says Yahweh. I will put my law in their inward parts, and I will write it in their heart. I will be their God, and they shall be my people. They will no longer each teach his neighbor, and every man teach his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they will all know me, from their least to their greatest, says Yahweh. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. Yahweh, who gives the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea so that its waves roar. Yahweh of armies is his name, says, If these ordinances depart from before me, says Yahweh, then the offspring of Israel also will cease from being a nation before me forever. Yahweh says, If heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, then I will also cast off all the offspring of Israel for all that they have done, says Yahweh. Behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that the city will be built to Yahweh from the tower of Hananel to the gate of the corner. The measuring line will go out further straight onward to the hill Gareb, and will turn toward Goah, the whole valley of the dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields to the brook Kidron. to the corner of the horse gate toward the east, will be holy to Yahweh. It will not be plucked up or thrown down any more forever.